Welcome back to Realtime Workflows. Today I'm going to give you 3 pro tips for using the curve editor in Unreal Engine. Okay, so I've set up a basic scene here, and what we've got is a drone, okay, and he's got a single translate curve in the y-axis. He moves very simply over there like that. What we're going to do is we're going to finesse this animation with a minimal amount of keys by being clever and efficient with the curve editor. Tip number 1, infinite curves. Now, you might have heard me mention infinite curves on another video. I do talk about them occasionally. I do like them a lot. I use them probably at least once a shot. And on this shot, I'm going to use it because we've got our guy, he starts and stops, and I've not got a camera set up in this yet because, you know, I'm just demonstrating animation. We're going to use it here. All right, so these blades just want to be spinning the whole time because the drone is flying the whole time. Just because he's not moving forward doesn't mean he's not flying. So he needs to be having his blades spinning. To do an infinite curve, I am going to put a keyframe down and I'm going to put another one down. Right? And if we come to our, if we open this up, we can see we've got rotation. I know it's on Z, and we can just drag this over and we'll see what happens. I'm actually just going to set that to 360, which is 1 complete rotation. And because our default curves are set to easy in and easy out, we'll see that it actually starts off pretty slow, speeds up, and then slows back down again. Now, what we don't want that. We want this to be infinite, and if it's infinite, it can't be stopped. All right, it has to be moving. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a curve that looks that's a straight line. Basically, that's what an infinite curve is. It's a straight line. So to do that, we're gonna grab these and we're gonna drop this box down and we're gonna choose linear. Okay, but it's still not infinite because they start and stop. They just start and stop very abruptly now. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab both of them and drop this menu down here, go to curves, and where it says pre-infinity, we're going to choose linear, and where it says curves post-infinity, we're going to choose linear. Now that is an infinite curve. Those rotors will just carry on going forever at the same speed, and you don't have to worry about it ever again. Now, they're a bit slow, look, I think. So the way to control the speed is to move the second key closer to the first if you want to speed it up, or further away if you want to slow it down, because that controls the gradient of the graph. And the gradient of the graph, the higher it goes, the steeper it is, the faster things are moving, all right? So we can see here now, that's probably a bit too fast. There you go. Very good. So that's an infinite curve. We can have a different kind of infinite curve, actually, as well. If we come back to sequencer, if we put a keyframe just kind of over here somewhere, really, and we'll put it on our location in Z, and then we're just going to move our drone down very slightly. Now, what that will do, as we know, it will be an easy in, and it's just going to lift up slightly. The curve will look a bit like that. Okay, the curve's going to look like that. All right, so all it does is move up. And what we want it to do is just kind of bob where it is. Just bob up and down, just to give it a bit of life. So we'll grab both these, we'll do the same thing again. We're going to leave them on easy in, easy out, but we're going to go to curves and pre-infinity oscillate and curves post-infinity oscillate. And now, for the entire duration of the shot, our drone's just going to oscillate up and down like that. 2 keyframes. It's pretty good, right? I love using these. They're my favorite things, and I get a lot of mileage out of them. When you know how to deploy them, they're really useful. Tip number 2, anticipations and overlaps. So let's go back to sequencer. Now, what we're trying to do is we're trying to keep a minimum amount of frames, but I like my frames to be ordered. And then, in tip number 3, we'll start to break up the order. Right? We'll become a bit more chaotic. But for now, we're going to keep the order. And for now, we know that this is our start point, and this is our end point. So if we're going to add an anticipation and an overshoot, we're going to add them on the same channel as the animation. An anticipation is an animation term. It's one of the principles of animation. What it means is that for something to move one direction, it first anticipates that move by moving slightly in the opposite direction. Okay, so if you see a cartoon of a character that starts from a static position and goes running, they'll probably do this first, and they go back like that, and then they run. That's an anticipation. Well, we can get one for free for an animation like this. We're going to add a keyframe here, and these are called bookend keyframes. And then roughly one of a similar duration at the back end there as well. We'll add another one. And if we come into our sequencer and go to our Y curves, we can see nothing's changed. we've still got this S curve for the easy in, easy out. But if we were to just grab these, and we'll zoom into them. To zoom, remember, as I mentioned in the last video, I'm using Alt and Shift and middle mouse dragging left and right to space them out like this, and up and down to space them out vertically. So I'm just going to grab this keyframe and grab that handle, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to knock it off its axis, very, very, very slightly, knock it off its axis. See what it did? It moved. And it moved because I'm looking at the frame just before it. So now, because I've knocked it off its axis, what it's actually doing, what we're saying, if that's it moving forward there, which we know it is, then what this is doing here is it's moving slightly backwards first. So it goes slightly backwards and then it moves forwards. All right? Simple. Easy. All we did add a keyframe. We've got a load of animation there without adding a single. Well, we've added bookend keyframes, but you know we've not got a keyframe that moves it back like that. We've not done that, have we? That would be mental anyway. And with this one, we're going to do the same thing. Just go in the opposite direction. We're just going to knock it like this, and then what happens over here when he comes in? He comes and he just settles in, and then drops back slightly. Okay. Super, super subtle, but these are exactly the kind of things that bring animations to life. A bit of subtlety, right? So we're just going to knock that over there. We can see if we come here, we can see what it's doing. The higher this goes, the higher you're effectively saying that there's a keyframe here, and that's its value. But there's no keyframe; it's implicit. It's just maths, which is cool, right? Maths is cool. I hated maths at university. I had to do maths. So that's anticipation and overshoot. We can use a similar technique just for animation. So when the drone's moving forward, technically the way a drone works is it would lean forward. That's how a drone moves forward. We're not overly worried about the mechanics of drone science, but let's just say if we wanted to lean that drone forward, we could go to rotation. What I like to do is I like to try and again keep things ordered, so keep these keys in columns to start with. And so I'm going to come over here and I'm going to add keyframes on the roll. Right, what the roll's going to do is it's going to tilt it forward because the axis is wrong. And I'm going to come over here. I'm going to keep them on the same key. So we're using these buttons to move to the next keyframe over here, and then add a keyframe, and then again add a keyframe on the roll. So now if we come to sequencer curves and we can go to roll, what we need to be aware of here is the scale, because what we're going to do is we're going to tilt this forward by moving this curve. And if you see if we just move the whole curve, it'll go mental. Right, because we've not got a lot of scale to be working with. You see this value goes from 0 to 3000 in this graph. We need to zoom in. Whoops. We need to zoom in. So put your cursor on the curve that you're zooming into and then push up whilst using Alt and Shift. Right, and then now we can grab this. Now we can see the scale's much nicer now. It's a few degrees. And now we're just going to push these up, and we'll see that he actually starts to rotate forward, which is what we want. And so now when he sets off, he goes, whoop. And then when he stops, his rotation drops out. Okay. Now we're going to finesse this and make it a bit nicer. Now I'm gonna grab these two. So we're going to use the same technique for these two, and we're just going to grab these and just move them out like that. Because as we know, it gets steeper forward, a steeper tilt forward the faster he goes. So as we know, so the faster he's moving, the more tilted forward he'll be. And tip 3 is offsets and overlaps. All right. So offsets just mean we're just going to start sliding keys around, which will break up those kind of columns. And what that will create is overlapping action. So we're offsetting and we're overlapping. The two things kind of mean the same thing, but whatever. We're going to be using these, and we're going to come back to sequencer, and we'll start by using the same keyframe columns as we've already got. So we're going to go here and add a keyframe on each of these. Go to the next one, add key. Go to the next one, add keys, and go to the next one, and add keys. All right, now, so we know that when we're moving forward, this is going to be hanging back, right? It wants to be, when we're moving forward, this thing wants to be dragging behind. So I'm going to come here, and I'm just going to add those keyframes. All right, so now it was up like that, and off he goes. Okay, so we can see that it's a little bit lumpy, and we're going to fix that by offsetting and overlapping. So let's come back into our curve editor. We'll go to our rotations, and what we're going to do is we're going to grab this and move these down. So exactly the same as an anticipation. This is basically an anticipation, but what we're doing is we're giving it some weight. It's dragging behind, right? And then it moves off like that. All right. Nice. And then we're going to offset everything and overlap everything by grabbing the keys on the second one, right? So the second one down. And the reason it's the second one down, if we had 4 links in this chain, we would do it for each one successively. And each one down the chain, we're going to offset the animation by a frame, right? So if it's a really big thing, you might offset it by more than a frame. If it's massive, you could offset it by 10 frames. If it's a dragon tail or something. But it just creates a little bit of breaking up, so not everything's happening at the same time. I'm actually going to move this 2 frames, and I'm going to do it by grabbing these, and it says multiple values here, you see. That's the frame. If we grab one key, that's the frame number. But if we grab multiple keys, it's obviously got multiple frames. But it doesn't matter, we'll just grab the whole phrase, multiple values, and we'll go plus equals 2. And what that's going to do is it's going to move all of the keys I've got selected forward 2 in time. All right. So now what it does is everything's getting just a little bit later and everything's just a little bit looser. Okay, it's very subtle, but it feels quite nice, right? And we can do the same thing on the other end. So when we get here, what we don't want this to do is just return to its position. It should overlap here, right? So it should overshoot. We know it's going to overshoot. So we're going to grab this, and technically what we should have really is these keys would be up here, wouldn't they? We know that because they're doing the same thing. Right. In fact, actually, what they would be doing is they'd be doing that, as we know, because it's the same thing that the thing did last time. So as it gets faster, they're dragging behind even more. Okay. And then when they come down here, actually, what they're going to do is they're going to overshoot, and they're going to get there a little bit later. So I'm going to move everything here back a bit. Actually, I'm just going to move this one back. And then what we're going to do is we're going to drag it down here. That's a bit fast, probably. I'll give it some more time. Okay. And then once again, we will grab these, just going to move them back into the sort of 0 position, and then we can add another key over here. We could offset these now. Okay, we could add another key to that one. All right. So all we're doing is we're starting to move things around, and then the second one, as we know, the second one we're going to grab. I'm going to grab these keys. We already did these ones. We grab these, say all this, and plus equals 2 to just give it a little bit of an offset. And now the whole thing will take less time. Let's just see what it does. Okay, so I think that's actually, it's waiting too long before it starts to move. So I'm going to grab both of them, and I'm just offsetting by eye. I think they need to start moving earlier because he slowed down. Yeah, that feels good. And then probably everything wants to come in a frame or 2 there. So that's 3 quick and easy ways to just finish your animation without using any extra keyframes, really, just by taking control of those curves in the curve editor. So thanks for watching. I'm Alex Bell, and I'll see you in the next one.